She has been with the club for the last 7-8 months. She is a really good, a great, in my opinion, she's one of the best inspirational speakers. She gets to touch in the messages that are important in some of the speeches. So I'd like to introduce Lady Tomika to come from. She's probably going to spend a few minutes trying to set up the computer, but it's all yours. Let's welcome Lady Tomika.
Good evening, everyone. My fellow Toastmaster members and our distinguished guests. I am a little nervous about doing this presentation.
You trying to get it full screen?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry. Uncertain sounds or the silent killer. Something to think about, and I would advise you to pay close attention to what cannot be heard, sometimes can be seen, but more importantly, has a very deep impact on those who witness or experience these incidents. You decide. For most of us, we have decided to live a life that was full of joy and pleasure, but sometimes life happens. And when life happens beyond our control, there's something that's called the silent killer. Ovarian cancer is one of the silent killers. High blood pressure and diabetes is another silent killer. I'm going to try to work with this. This is not my idea of... This is really interesting, how my computer, which is Mac, actually does it a little different, so I'm using another PowerPoint. So if you can just bear with me, I'm going to try to get through this with the slow tempo of this projection. All right, so another silent killer, we're not going to do that. Can I click also? I'm sorry. Because you guys probably will not get the message if it keeps doing like that. I apologize. I was really excited when Pat had his laptop, and I was like, okay, we get to do this. Okay, so let me just start from this screen. The second mythical term for silent killer actually is a tasteless and a smellless and a colorless form of gas, which is known as carbon monoxide. Today, every home is mandated to have a carbon monoxide detector in their home. This is also a silent killer. While the carbon monoxide and ovarian cancer, diabetes, and heart disease are silent killers, is because if not early detected, it leaves a deadly outcome and result. But I would like to introduce you to an uncertain sound that is also what I call the silent killer. So let me introduce you to my friend, Mary. Mary is a teenage girl who dates a high school football player who actually have been dating him for some time now, and because of his popularity, he kind of dictates to Mary what should happen, when it should happen, why it should happen, and oftentimes he doesn't allow her to be near her friends. He's controlling. He isolates her. Next, one of my other friends here, not that friendly with her vocals when she's talking to Tay. She makes Tay feels like she is very inadequate, and that her being a part of the relationship just does not, is not sufficient, and what she has to say is not important. Then you have Tom, who doesn't emotionally support John in his endeavors to live his dream. But both of these couples are in what I call the power wheel, power and control. Here we have the Wilsons. Mr. Wilson is an executive at one of the law firms, and Mrs. Wilson is a stay-at-home mom. She had a disconnect from everything because he's the breadwinner. He's the one that actually makes all the decisions, so he gets to control whether or not she gets to drive, because if he doesn't put the gas in the car, then she can't go anywhere. So he utilizes his economic status as a privilege and uses that against her. I introduce you to Rosa. Rosa is not a U.S. citizen. She actually met a gentleman on the computer, and he promised to marry her, bring her to the States, make her a citizen. And once she got here, he sexually abused her. He manipulated and controlled her. He used money to not allow her to be. And so it is somewhat considered trafficking, human trafficking. What really matters is not the partnership, whether it's domestic or not. What really matters is the violence that happens. What I just indicated to you in all those scenarios is what is considered the power and control wheel that happens in domestic violence. Every 9 seconds, a woman is violently beaten by her domestic partner. Also, that civil unions also are affected by domestic violence. It is just not the woman, it is actually men who actually, it's not just the man who does the beating, it is also the woman who actually contributes to that. This is a cycle of violence. This violence that happens in these relationships, it goes in 3 stages. It goes from the intense to the cute to the honeymoon stage, where he offer her flowers and make her think that everything is okay, to go right back to the first phase again. Domestic violence have no face, no gender, no race, no age. It actually can happen to anyone. And it's what I call the silent killer. The ones who are most affected by this are the children. Domestic violence is not something, domestic violence is a learned behavior. It is not some kind of disease. It is something that someone chooses to do once they have seen it been done. And there is a high rate that children who experience domestic violence in the home will repeat the same cycle. Don't look away if you experience or you see something like this happening to someone. There is help out there for them. I just wanted to share a personal story of domestic violence. In 1992, in 11th grade, a disturbing phone call came to my home, and it was a phone call that said that my aunt was gone. A man whom she loved and who she was in a relationship, had all her children by, had stabbed her 9 times in her chest in front of her 3-year-old daughter. That is not a call that anybody would like to get at home. So I personally speak out against domestic violence because it is what I call the silent killer. If you are silent, it will kill her. There is help available. And if you know someone who is experiencing, please be sure to direct them to the hotline.